Hi everyone, this is Christina. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to cover a topic that one of you guys had requested in the comments on a video I showed a couple weeks ago. One of you had mentioned that you weren't sure where to start when it comes to creating your own card sketches or sketching out your ideas for cards. So I thought I would really briefly show you guys my process, just some of the little things I do, some of the visual cues that remind me of my specific card idea, because sometimes I don't create the card right then. Sometimes I just like to get the idea down and I come back to it weeks or even months later. I know for some people out there, creating sketches like this could be a little bit daunting since you might not be familiar with the process. I remember back when I was in college and we had to do sketches of design ideas. There was a little bit of a learning curve, so I totally get it. And it doesn't come to everyone naturally. So we're going to walk through some of my kind of tips and tricks and different visual cues that I use to remind myself of the different card ideas. So let's get into it. I'm going to switch to my overhead camera and kind of talk you guys through some of the creation of card sketches. I was trying to come up with a way to show you card sketching the best way possible. And I thought it might be most helpful to see some of my previous card sketches and how they turn into cards. So this is my sketchbook. This is kind of a catch-all sketchbook for a lot of different things that I create. It's from Canson, and I'll have it linked down below if you're interested in getting a sketchbook that's this size or like this one. I do a lot of things in this sketchbook. I do card ideas, stamp set ideas, die ideas, even some lettering projects when I'm kind of sketching out some lettering ideas. So I do a lot in this sketchbook. In the past, I've had a dedicated book for cards, and I've done a couple of videos on it years ago. I'll have that linked up in the top corner if you want to check it out. I've done a couple of those. But in those videos, I had a really long, handmade notebook that I made for card sketches, and it had pre-printed outlines of the correct dimensions for a card. It was really super helpful to have that already printed out, but I haven't made a sketchbook like that in a while, so I'm currently sketching my card ideas in a book like this, and I just sketch out oh, that sort of looks like the dimensions of a card. I'm just getting the idea down on paper. It doesn't have to be precise, so I haven't bothered with that, but I am thinking about making myself kind of like a DIY stencil so I can be more consistent with all my card sizes. But if you want to have those pre-printed, check out that video, linked up there. I have the PDF files to make your own sketchbook over at my blog. I still have those, and you're more than welcome to download those files. We're going to deconstruct some of these cards that I made. I'm going to show you some sketching from this past June, since all of these card videos are out, and we can look at the finished cards. So this first set of card sketches was for an Altenew release, and it's their monogram cards. They're big monogram dies, actually. And I wanted to create some cards where the letter took the main focal area. It was the main focus of the card. The idea for the gold embossed edge came from this card sketch. I ended up not embossing it. As you guys know, that in the finished card, it's actually painted on with a paintbrush, some just gold pearlescent paint. But behind the die cut area, I wanted the pinstripe background. So I just did a quick little sketch, and then I labeled it pinstripe background. I'm not being super precise. I just want to be able to look at this sketch and okay, yep, pinstripe background, monogram die, I'm going to do the gold edge. Just little cues that help me remember my idea. In that same video, I did a second card where I used another monogram letter. And in this case, I wanted to use the Moroccan background. So instead of drawing in that background really precise, I just kind of, just some little hatch marks and then labeled it Moroccan background. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying to get your idea out on paper so that you know what your original idea was. I originally wanted to do a gold edge on that one, and then I labeled that I was going to use a sentiment from an additional stamp set. Okay, so now we're going to go through a few more cards here. This was for a Simon release that was, I think it was the following week. And this is the card with that cat mermaid. I followed this sketch fairly close when I made the actual card, but I did kind of change things up a little bit. So I knew I wanted to do a square card, and I also wanted to have a circle element on it so that I could have a shaker area. I labeled that I would have to cut it out with my craft knife because I don't have a die that would cut that area. And I labeled the stamps that I was going to use, and I just, Copic colored. It gave me an idea of what I was going to be doing when I created my card. Sketching card ideas like this is a great way to just pre-plan, give yourself almost like a guide map for creating your card. There is a lot of fun in just, sitting down and playing with supplies and see what happens, see what comes about. But I find that I have a much more organized and finished looking card if I start with a card sketch. So with that card, I'd originally planned to create an envelope, and I never did. But this was the idea. I was going to use the waves stencil from Simon and mask off areas and little waves and write an address in. I thought those two would pair really, really well. So here's another card that I created with that release. And this I stuck pretty close to this sketch as well. On this one, I used the Deborah die cut with glitter paper. And I used the Big Friend die and a line from that Vacation Time set. And then I wanted to add a little bit of a subtle background back here. So that's when I used the geometric background stamp. I also had an envelope planned for that one. I don't think I actually created it, but I had planned to create an envelope with that card. Okay, I've got one more kind of card sketch to show you guys. And this one stayed pretty close to my sketch as well, and I had planned to use the Mom Elephant Oh Happy Days stamp set. This is where I had the idea to do brush strokes, and I was thinking I could do it in watercolor or I could do it in oxide ink, smooshing the ink pads down. I thought there could do either one of those ideas. And I didn't get super precise with it, but I did write out the Oh Happy Day and some of the little flower elements that I stamped around it. So this was just a way to get the idea out that I wanted to do some colorful background behind the really large the greeting stamp. So that's just a way to get that idea out. All right, one more card sketch, and this one's super, super easy. This was another really popular video from you guys. A lot of you guys watched it, and it was such a simple card idea. I was really surprised how well it did, considering it was so simple. I wanted to just color some of these dog and cat images, the girls holding the dogs and cats, and then have some ink blending behind it. Super simple card idea, but effective, and it helped remind me what I was going to be doing. Down here are some good examples of some different shortcuts that I take to help remind me where things are going. I like to do little scribble lines, little loops, and that tells me that there's words there. So going across here, and I also labeled it written address. Over here for the time to get away greeting, I just did some lines just to show me that there's something there. I did a really simple umbrella and then the little cat image off to the side, so it looks similar to the card, to the different images. And then down here for this flower, it's actually not a flower image itself, but it kind of has a rotating or a centric design that comes out. So I just did a really simple kind of flower shape with the center area cut out that would show the geometric background stamp. If it's a larger greeting, like this friend one, sometimes I'll put that over the top just so I can sort of get an idea that this greeting is going to be a lot larger on the card front. Like I mentioned before, I've done dedicated card sketchbooks before, and they were fantastic. Kept all my card ideas all in one place. Right now I'm currently using this big notebook where I have all my different kind of creative brainstorming sessions happening, but you definitely could just make your own dedicated card sketchbook. And I did want to mention that when I did all of these sketches, it was one afternoon. So I do a lot of card sketching ideas all in bulk because I do tend to film my videos kind of all in big chunks of time. So that's just how I work personally. But in the past, I've just done one card sketch at a time right before I make the card, and that works really well. Another thing I wanted to mention when it comes to card sketching is that it's really beneficial to have the different products you want to use sitting in front of you, because it's a great way to see the products before you actually put them into your card sketches. It helps you get kind of the size and dimension just right. Once again, I want to let you guys know that there will be a link down below in the show more area in the video description where you can download the template that you can print out to have those predetermined card sizes in your sketchbook. I think it's going to be really, really helpful. In fact, I might have to create another one of those card sketchbooks soon, just because now that I'm thinking more and more about it, it was super convenient to already have all of these different card dimensions printed out, so I could just base them off that. I hope that helps you guys out when it comes to your card sketches, gives you some ideas on what you can do when you're sketching out some ideas. If you liked this video and you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you think one of your friends would enjoy this too, hit the share button, share it with a friend. I would really appreciate that. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a future video. And on screen right now are 2 videos that I think you might enjoy. I hope you'll check those out. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in another video very soon.